Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You've reached the Boho Info Show and News. And today, wow, do I have some mind blowing news. Not only you better get your thinking caps on for this show, but this is going to be something that is on top of everything else that is probably more than what you're already seeing out there in the world, whether you're just one of those surface news people looking on the local tube, or if you're one of those deep researchers. This one is going to blow your mind at all levels, all levels. So stay tuned. Get yourself something to drink. Um, get yourself a tablet or something to write down, take jot notes with, and I mean, you can tell my voice. This is just overwhelming me on some of the information that I'm getting right now. Um, I'm going to put it out in layman's terms. Also, we make no claims on anything medically, legally, or otherwise. Take everything we say with a grain of salt. Do your own research. You might come up with the same thing we did. And also, we have this is such mind blowing information I'm about to reveal to you guys. On top of everything else that's happening in the world. So, if you guys are not a member on my Telegraph page, get to it because this is where all the links are going to be put in. Okay. I'm putting the links over in my Telegraph page. Now, if you guys don't have the link, I will scroll it on the bottom because all my news and things that we talk about on this particular show on the subjects of things that we'll be talking about is coming and be posted in my actual Telegraph page. So if you're not a member, become a member. You can probably get it on your computer because I can see you can get it in layman's terms on your computer. You just don't have total access, but you can see some of the surface stories that we'll be covering. And if you are a member, you'll get the VIP treatment and you will get the detail stuff becoming a member on the Telegraph page. Okay. Also, to become a member and a follower over on my Twitter page. Twitter is very heavy and concentrated with information as well as my Telegram page. Okay, so they're combined together. Now, I know you're going to say there's a lot of misinformation out there, but here's the thing. Remember, I've been teaching you guys in my past about how to do pre-programming on movies and shows and to look for clues, codes, and symbolisms. And everybody's saying that, symbolisms is going to be the downfall for the cabal, right? Okay. Well, on top of this, I've been trying to teach you guys how to listen critically to things that is being said either in videos or in people's speeches and things like that as well, because that gives you also new evidence and codes and clues and so on and so forth, right? On top of this, now we have a fifth level. You know how Trump says we have a 5D Trump or chess playing kind of game going on? Well, we have that going on right now. And this is the other surface information out of the misinformation that people are just dismissing as misinformation. But they're actually putting code symbolisms and clues in the misinformation now. Okay. And that's why they're dismissing it as misinformation because, yes, they don't want that truth out. But yes, there's also clues, codes, pre-programming, and symbolisms in all that information now. Okay. It's something I have been working on here for over a couple weeks. That's why you guys haven't seen me in a long time, because of all this big compound of misinformation being collected with regular information and have to go through it and kind of take a comb and a fine-tooth comb to comb through all of this stuff, trying to figure out where all the clues, the pre-programming, the symbolisms, and everything else is coming out of, plus the critical part of the speaking of their speeches that they're making politic-wise or otherwise, and leaders of the world and all this stuff, okay? So, yeah, a lot of stuff going on. So, I'm going to revolve this because it's really easy now, I guess, to show on my maybe Telegraph area where I'm at. Okay, so this is my main page on Telegraph. You have to look for my same little symbolism kind of thing for the little round circle and the person, okay? But We got some really interesting stuff. And just before we get into a lot of this bigger stuff that's really happening out there in the world, um, you guys got to understand something, what's going on with the Ukraine war there and the Russia thing and all that. The people on local TV are telling you because they're being bought and sold by the Democrats, okay? And they can only tell you certain things because their boss is limiting them on a lot of information, okay? Which is the deeper stuff that the Patriots and other people are pulling out, okay? Now, the war over there, yes, I agree no one should be going to war because it disrupts life and it also disrupts the economy. Now, knowing that, I've been through 4 hurricanes in 1 year and how it does a disastrous situation just from a hurricane, think about that maybe around tenfold for what's going on over there in Europe. Now, here's the thing. People don't understand, regardless of whose faults it is, okay, and the disruption that's happening, the economic impact that's going to happen over there. Not only just on, Ukraine side and all the little countries around there to the east and southeast area, okay, like Poland and all them, okay, and the impact from all the influx of immigrants, okay, just like what's happening here in the south border of the United States, okay, but also the impact also with Russia being that they're sanctioned. Now, yes, I know what they're saying. Okay, well, Russia deserves it and all this stuff. Well, here's the thing. Nobody deserves anything on either side. And I'm really shocked that we don't have leaders out there talking more about how we can get around this and compromise. The big word of the day and for the globe, for all global leaders, coming from me to you guys, to the global leaders, is a word called compromise. You guys need to research that because this is how human life or leaders become leaders to replace you later or otherwise, is to learn how to compromise. Right? You can't become a leader unless you know how to compromise. It doesn't make you weaker. It doesn't make you stronger. It makes you a business person. It makes you be a better leader. Now, what's happening in Ukraine from intel and compound information I've been getting is that they're hitting the underground tunnel system in Ukraine. Here's the thing. Ukraine, whether you guys know it or not, if you've done the research as much as I've done it and did it as deep as I've done it, will realize that there is underground tunnel systems all through Europe, connecting in different countries in there, from like north to south, east to west, all that kind of thing, including little ones. Now you're going to say, okay, we're having flashbacks to World War II and all this stuff. It's the same thing that's happening now, and all this stuff. No, this is a totally different thing. No veteran, whether they fought in a war or were any armed service, has ever dealt with this style of war. This style of war is not only a 5D chess level kind of situation, but it's also a cyber war as well as an underground war. Okay? We're dealing with, and whether if you're a true Trump follower and know a lot of what's going on with that, you'll know that their war is underground. Okay, besides on the surface, as well as on top, which is cyber, and now on top, which is what? Space and Space Force. Now you got to think about something. Elon Musk put his satellites over there. Why? So that Ukraine can hook up to the internet, right? Well, here's the thing. You get any good hacker from any country in the world that might be in that area, they can get onto Elon Musk's servers over there in the satellite type situation. Okay, that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying any more. I'm not saying to do it or anything else, but it's possible. Anything is possible. Here's the other thing, though. You have an underground tunnel system, and we know from all the compound information is they're trying to drain the swamp here in the United States, but they can't drain it and completely clean the deep state because why? Their tentacles, which is what they call the Kraken, right, is running in every country of the world. People are so frustrated right now. They're saying, well, why isn't it over with? Well, you guys got to understand something. This is more than patience, but this is being, you have to have a solid foundation, concrete kind of situation to keep your foot in the ground and keep the pace going and keep pushing back. Okay. So everything that's happening is these underground tunnel systems are host to what? Human trafficking, pedophile rings. You have drugs, okay, and you have shady what? You know, different kind of weird things going on with different exchanges of different governments and things like that. Okay, that's what's happening. But here's the other part. Yes, you guys recently seen that in the news they're talking about the biolabs. People are thinking, okay, they're having flashbacks to World War II. Okay. This goes beyond the World War II thing and the scientist thing and all that stuff. If you really research what's currently happening in the patent office, let alone anything else in the past with bio research and the biolabs, whether it's in Ukraine or other areas of that Europe area, which includes Germany and so on and so forth. Hang on a minute, I got to take a drink. And yes, it's water. There are, they have found documents that the Ukraine government burned, or at the embassy burned, okay? So they're kind of burning their tracks of the evidence, right? Now, where have you heard of that before? You got to remember something. Democrats repeat the same mistakes over and over and over. So every time that I see their mistakes, I take note of it and I look for those mistakes, them to repeat it in the future, which is what's happening right now with this whole thing with the Ukraine war. Now, Putin has coming on there, and his generals got on there, and I'm going to play something here for what's happening with the general, because the general came out and gave you the truth of what's really happening over there. But so basically what they're trying to do is clean that part of the tentacle of the Kraken, right? I'll call it the Kraken, where they're cleaning that part of Europe, which has ties to not only the Biden situation, but it has ties to Soros, it has ties to the Democratic Party, whether it's dealing with human trafficking, pedophile rings, drug trafficking, you name it, including with connections to our different branches of government. Okay. Now, all the information I'm giving you is part of the evidence I'm showing you in stories and the reports from different news agencies and things that is in my Telegraph page. It's important. If you really want the link, you have to go to my Telegraph page. The links will be all in there. You check it out, check referencing, whatever it is you want to do on me. But I bring you what I see and what I report on and what we talk about. Okay. So all that information will be either there in the Telegraph page that I've given you the link on the bottom of your screen. I think it is in there. Did I put a link in there or not? Yes, I did. Okay. The link will be in there. Okay. And we're going to kind of talk about the whole enchilada of the world, because it's about not only saving the United States and America, right, and trying to clean out all the corruption, but it's about saving the world. It's about saving the planet, because our corruption is in every other country's corruption. Maybe not the same way, maybe not with the same politicians, but they have it where I call it the Kraken. The tentacles are in every freaking country. Okay. Just follow me. I know this is going to be a deep kind of program. It's something where you got to put your thinking caps on, but just follow what I say and make your notes on your tablets. Okay. Now, if we go back into, I'm going to show you this one here because it's not showing up on the screen here. And then we'll go into some of the other stuff. But I want you to relate everything that I'm talking about right now to everything happening in our United States kind of situation of politics, okay? But we're also going to discuss how they're connected to the current situation, how they're connected to foreign means of different places, as well as local now. Okay. So I'm going to put this down here. I'm going to hopefully get you guys to see this. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. There we go. Okay. But this is going to be live right now in the thing, but on your link that's on the bottom there. But this one is a story about Hunter Biden meet with the father-in-law of Juarez cartel boss. Okay, now it says here the Secret Service email confirmed Hunter's meeting with the wealthy Mexican businessman who happened to be building a bi-national community in his 47,000-acre area along the New Mexico border. Now, here is proof, okay, that Biden's family is connected to the cartel in Mexico, for one. Number two, it also gives you a confirmation why none of the Democrats or Biden will close the border. Okay, this is proof. You're seeing it for the first time. Okay. Now, the other thing I want you to look at is, let's see here. Yeah, I don't know why that keep popping up, but this will tell you here that he had it on Biden's laptop. Okay, Biden's laptop is where he was emailing this Mexican businessman person, which is we call it says Hunter Biden met with the father-in-law of Juarez cartel boss. Okay, and if you want to know the name, let me see here. He just gave me the name. I popped it up. Okay, here, I'll pop it up for you guys. All right. So it says here in this is documented 2011. Okay, Hunter Biden met with Eloy Vanilli. I don't know if you can see that right there. Eloy Vanilli, one of the wealthiest businessmen in Chihuahua, Mexico, and a father-in-law of Lucindo. I don't know if you can see that right there. Lucindo Carlo Ruz, known as a member of the Juarez cartel and nephew of Vincent Carlos Vertelis, I think is how you say that, a former leader of the Juarez cartel. Okay, so here's the thing. Whether connected directly or indirectly, the Bidens still were connected to the cartel. This is proof, okay? Some way, shape, form. It's on his emails, etc., and so forth, okay? It says here, according to the emails found by Hunter laptop and Secret Service agent Timothy Buckley and then Vice President Joe Biden's son, in the emails, Agent Buckley informed Hunter that son-in-law Carlos, their businessman, was shot 5 times as an attempt hit, and then known member of the Juarez cartel nephew Carlos, head of the cartel. It says here, let's see, Secret Service agent forwarded this information to Hunter. See, so the Secret Service is involved with this too. Secret Service agent forwarded this information to Hunter on November 15, 2011, after a registry as secret security officer from the U.S. consulate in Juarez had notified the Secret Service that the information might be important to Vice President's son. Now, here's my question. Why is it important? You got to understand something. Remember, if you followed my thing about all the illegals coming over the south border over 2 years ago, when I reported and stated then in my past shows on YouTube, you have to go back in my archives and look at south border stuff, okay, in YouTube. You'll understand that well, there's a problem now even with the cartel on the border, but anyway, you guys know about that. If you don't, you can research that. But you can see that back then they had a situation where they're pulling drugs, and they're still doing drugs over the border. Now, here's the thing. Biden's son there likes what? Cocaine. massive amount of cocaine coming over the south border. Was he making deals with this Juarez boss here with cocaine and other things for money? Yeah. And who else was pulled into it? Secret Service, right? Secret Service is who, right? They're all part of it. So this is all the corruption connection, right, of the south border. Now remember, Democrats make the same mistakes over and over and over. Okay? So they're repeating the same process over in Ukraine and Russia right now. Okay? You follow me so far? Think about that. We'll get to that more, but hang on a minute. We'll get to more of that. Okay? Now, here's another thing. This is just giving you guys some news updates that's going to be posted. That story I just told you is posted in my Telegraph page. You can look it up. The link is in there as well. Okay? But also here's another one. This also proves how Mexico, the cartel, is protecting the corruption in the United States. So you guys are thinking, oh, hey, Ukraine is bad or Russia's really bad. Y'all better think about your backyard. Mexico with the cartel is really bad. Just as bad as Russia is, or just as bad as Ukraine is. Okay? Because of the cartel. Now you're going to say, well, it can't be. It really is. If you looked at my past research on the South Border News in my YouTube page way back when I did a lot of research about illegals coming across the border and all that stuff, you can even research it now. There's over 12 different types of cartels in Mexico, and it's growing. There's more right now currently. Okay. Now, everybody's whining and bitching here in the U.S. about how things are bad. It could be a lot worse. It could be like that. Okay. So thank your lucky stars. You're probably in one of the safest lands there is in the world right now, maybe, other than maybe some other smaller countries, which I'm not going to say at the moment who they are. But yes. Okay. So here's the other thing. A lot of tycoons, CEOs, or corruption leaders or management or politicians that are corrupt are seeking refuge in Mexico. Okay? Now, you really got to think about that, because you're going to think, well, I've never thought, they would do such a thing to go to Mexico and, they're going to protect them. Who's going to protect them? If the cartel's bad, you know what I'm saying? And you've got to really think about the density of the situation. Okay? I mean, I told you guys you got to put your thinking caps on, right? But this man here that you're seeing on the screen, I don't know if you can see him too well. Let me see. You guys can see this guy right here that I'm pointing to right there with my little hand. I don't know if you can see him or not. But take a good gather of him, okay? And like I say, this is also posted in my Telegraph page. But it says here, Mexican businessman Miguel Elman Magini is residing in France and fighting an arrest warrant in his native country. This is in France he's fighting from. With charges of tax fraud, his lawyer said. Okay? So here's the thing. The rich is getting taxed now here in the United States and maybe in other countries, where now they're going to pay their equal share, just like the poor and the middle class. So now the rich is getting taxed, and now they don't like it. So now what are they doing? They're going to do tax evasion kind of thing, tax fraud, right? So it says here that Elman was accused by the Mexican authorities of not paying more than 65 million pesos, which is equal to 3.2 million US dollars in taxes dating back from 2018. That the airline he co-founded, Interjet. Now remember these names, Interjet, research that company, collected from his customers and employees, but failed to forward to the government. See, so he sucked money from his employees and customers. I mean, how screwed up is that alone, right? And no intention to travel to Mexico. He had no intention to travel to Mexico for time being, but it's not clear he committed any crimes, they said. His family lawyer said. So they're trying to fight it back and forth, and it's covering dues and things that's happening in the courts over there, and so on and so forth. And he says that Ailman said he decided to favor paying salaries when there wasn't enough money to cover the taxes. So, you know, maybe he was paying out cash or something to the employees or whatever, customers, I don't know, and never covered the taxes for it, I'm guessing. But in the meantime, he gained ground in 2005 in Mexico at a low-cost carrier. And then listen to this. This is where the Russia connection comes in. It says, but relentlessly competition along with a decision in 2012 to buy Russian superjets led the company to an insert amount of debt that resulted in most of the fleet being repossessed last year. And he says he's not running from the law, but he was advised. He's been advised not to come to Mexico because the law states he'd be immediately arrested and all this stuff. So it says here, the company is seeking bankruptcy protection in Mexico. See, so he's not going to France. He's not coming to the U.S. for bankruptcy protection, but Mexico. Remember, corruption goes to a corruption country to get protection or to get away with certain crimes. Okay. And it says here, seeking to restructure more than $1.2 billion in debt after he halted flights last December, and he's seeking the bankruptcy protection in Mexico. The president, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, officials have made criminal enforcement tax laws linchpin of the crackdown to help shore revenue even mid-collapse of the economy last year from the coronavirus. So even, I guess, the president of Mexico has made certain enforcement of tax laws as well. So here's the thing. If they're going to go after leaders and people like this, like I say, if you're going to drain it, you got to get them all. So this is another one, a little notch on the bed post. You know, one more kind of thing, right? All right. So remember these, when they say they're going to release the Kraken, these are all the little tentacles in different countries of corruption. These are the tentacles of corruption, the connections to all these different areas of different countries in the world that have connections with other countries that is also connected to the U.S., and whether it's through a company or a government or a politician or otherwise, it's all part of the whole same thing, okay? Now, you're going to say, well, what does this have to do with Ukraine? Well, with the biolab situation, you guys got to understand there's a lot of interesting stuff coming out of that. You got to stay tuned to the news and stay tuned to my channel and stuff like that to understand what's happening on this. But here's the other thing, okay? Let me get to this other one here. I gotta get to the other one. Hang on a minute. Let me get all that. Okay. So this next one down is from Garrett. Okay. And this one is, I also just let you guys know in my Telegram page, there is documents. Okay. Besides the actual, what do you call it? Footnote or website or whatever I get the information from. Okay. So this next one down is basically a document about John Paul turning over information that he believed that he could trust is that of politics today and ignoring collateral damage in its wake. So this is a connection to the Vatican. Now, we already know a lot of different things going on with that, right? But it says, John Paul is an American like the rest of us and honestly know what we have done similar to situations, knowing that he would believe right the profited in any way, that he has not profited in any way or any situation in reality, and reality is quite opposite, and likely start a new career at age 44. But there is documents here, and these are interesting documents, so make sure you read that one. This is about the Mac repair. This is the connection to the Mac repair of Hunter Biden's laptop. Okay. And it was in Wilmington, Delaware. Okay. And he came in supposedly April 12th, 2019. Now you got to think about timelines. Think about it before, President Trump, during his term, after the term, all that kind of thing. Incorporate the timeline thing, okay? And it says here that on the bottom, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth paragraph down, around mid-July 2019, Hunter Biden's business dealings with Ukraine were coming more in focus, and John Paul started to get uncomfortable with the information he's seen. He was unsure that the hard drives contained information pertaining to legal investigation at the point when which he reached out to his father, retired Colonel, U.S. Air Force, for advice about what he should do. Both they decided to go to the alphabet soup that starts with an F and hand it over the Mac and drive the best course of action. Soon after, John Paul's father took a copy of the hard drive to the alphabet soup that starts with an F to Albuquerque, New Mexico. Now, what is in New Mexico, right? Okay. Think about location on bases and things. The FBI turned John Paul's father away. Then in mid-October of 2019, the alphabet soup that starts with an F reached out to Colonel Mac Isaac and wanted to discuss the Mac drive. At that point, along passed the John Paul connection information and reached out to his house to discuss Paul's concern. After that, there were subpoenas for the computer, the hard drive, related paperwork, all that stuff, okay? And so on and so forth. Now, it says here, Hunter Biden gave a authorized signature to repair his computer. So once you get into that, people can see things, right? And then what they were looking at, I guess, was their actual trash bin. You know how computers have trash bins? And I guess there's a way you can get all your junk out of there to look at things. I don't know. So it's not like you're burning trash in the backyard. You can actually pull up evidence and things out of your bins, I guess. I don't know. Let's see here. What else? All right. So then it also included Senator Johnson's office and Rudy Giuliani, which we know a little bit about him. But I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but there is a connection with the laptop with Ukraine. Okay. So there's your connection that way. Okay. So there's information on Hunter Biden's laptop on the hard drive that deals with a lot of probably business things and illegal things coming from Ukraine. Now, you know, a lot of people are saying, well, Ukraine is innocent and they're not corrupt and all this stuff. Well, yes, there is proof that Ukraine is corrupt. And then you're going to have other people say, well, yeah, there's other countries all the countries are corrupt. That's true. But what makes this a big deal is because it's connected to the Democrats. What makes this a big deal is that it's connected to the Bidens. Okay. What makes this a big deal is that we have our leader of our land telling us what to do when they themselves don't get in trouble. You see what I'm saying? But if we did it as common citizens, we'd get in trouble. This is where I draw the line and say, no. This is where the GOP, the Republicans, and all this stuff draw a line and impeach him. Right along with the rest of the Democrats that's involved. Because that laptop, okay, along with the other laptops that supposedly was seized in that January 6th situation, are all interconnected with each other politically. which connects to all these different leaders in the world and different embassies in the world of corruption. It stems not just with the embassies, but it also stems higher up. It stems up to the UN. There is corrupt officials in the UN, whether you know this or not. You need to do the research. It's there. Okay. And what gets me is that no one, I mean, here's the thing. We got a bunch of rhinos in our politics in the U.S. Okay. And we have a few that are speaking out, like Cruz and all them. Okay. But here's the problem. They're all talk. It's all blah, 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 blah. Okay. We're revealing this. We have evidence of that. We've seen this. We got this picture. We got that document. We've got this hard drive. All I'm hearing is, okay, compiling all this evidence, but nothing in actions, and here's my thing to anyone that's a Republican out there. If you're a GOP person listening to my show, or a Republican high-end person, or whoever, here's my thing. Actions speak louder than words. There is so much overwhelming evidence that even a common citizen can go arrest them. And you're going to say, well, it's misinformation. Well, here's the thing. Okay. We know the Russia thing came from who? Hillary Clinton. And it's still coming from the Democrats currently. There's proof of that. So every time you hear this crap coming from your little redhead speaker that comes on your TV and gives you a news conference, okay, telling you what's happening and blaming it on the Russia thing or Putin thing, no, it's the Democrats. Okay? The Democrats created the Russia thing. The Democrats created the January 6th thing. Okay, the Democrats created all this other fuss with the coronavirus, and Democrats created everything. Why? Because they're trying to push, and here's the bottom line. Okay, they don't want this corruption cleaned out. There's two bottom lines, in fact. They don't want this corruption cleaned out. They want to keep the Kraken going so that they can stuff more money in their back pocket, so that they have more power over the Republicans, for one, and also global dominance. Now, some of them have connections to the CCP in China. Okay, that's another whole show, but you can do the research on that. There's proof of that. You might see it on my Twitter, or you might see it over on my Telegraph page, but there's tons of proof out there. And like I say, they're stuffing so much money, even with the coronavirus stuff, with the shots and everything else. There's proof of evidence of that with all the pharmaceutical companies. I did shows on that, showing the proof of what's in every shot, showing what the ingredients were. I've confronted a pharmacist. I've gotten the printout of what's in the shots. I've shown the proof how harmful it is to the body without even have to make long distance calls to Europe to doctors. I had over 280 researchers, over 250 doctors in the globe with researching all this. It's overwhelming. It really is. The proof is there. But yet you have all these sheep out there taking the shot. And they're going to die. They're a ticking time bomb. You don't know when they're going to die, but they're going to die. They're going to die faster than a pureblood. And yet, Biden and all the rest of them are pushing it. Why? Because they have stocks in their hands in the pharmaceutical companies. Now you're going to say, well, what's going on with Ukraine and the biolabs? Well, they created a lot of these diversions from the variants, from a lot of this stuff from the biolabs, for one. Whether it's in Ukraine, whether it's in China, whether it's in Germany, or wherever in the globe. And China's blaming it on the United States not knowing about the biolabs, right? No, China, it's not their fault. You know whose fault it is? The Democrats. The ones that you're shaking hands with, making your shady deals with. That's who screwed you, China. Okay? So you thought you Chinese were smart enough to get one over on the U.S. Well, guess what? The Democrats already got two over you. They screwed you 2 times. Not only did they make money off your pharmaceutical companies, okay, and they set up all these biolabs throughout the world, but they screwed you on your shady deals on it. And then they have puppets like Fossey and all this stuff pushing the agenda forward so that they can make more money than you and have more power over you. How you like that? You like that one really good, right? Yeah, it's getting good. Then, on the rest of this laptop that you see down, okay, there's pictures. Tons of pictures. This is all part of the Biden family. Here's a whole list of them. You know this little thing called interbreeding thing? This is what the Biden's all about. They test their kids out. And I'm not going to say how, but you know what I'm saying. Okay? Check out the link. It's all in there. Then on top of it, you have, besides having corruption in the actual situation of dealing with all this stuff, you have a lawyer right here. Yep. This lawyer here, he's an attorney. And then finally what? I guess they got him. But like I say, what's happening, interconnecting, is that the Democrats are here's a whole new continental level of stealthing of corruption. This exceeds any of our highest Green Beret kind of ranking of stealth corruption. I'll put it that way when it comes to the Democrats. And in order for you to clean it out, we need our special 4 branches like Green Berets kind of thing to clean out these individuals. Okay? Including what's currently serving office. Now, and this also goes with what the new Supreme Court person is supposed to be sitting down. Okay? Did you guys research her? You need to research her background. I'm telling you, she's connected to the corruption. Yep. But also the same thing with judges as well as lawyers. They're all in this together. They're shaking each other's hands, washing each other's hands, and sticking each other's hands in their own back pockets and exchanging money the same way, like a money laundering situation of making their shady deals with each other and countries. Okay? Any questions so far? If you got questions, put it in the comment area. We'll do more. But here's another letter from a letter include analysis from FARA, in which inserts that even if clients were engaged in activity that would normally require registration under the Act, but would require registration under FARA, F-A-R-A, because they would be physically outside the United States at a time of performance and service and duty. Please be advised, do not concur analysis on FARA determined on made in the letter, and all this stuff, right? Okay. So, in the letter, here's a connection to the Ukraine area of that world, Europe area of the world, okay, which is a connection to Romania, okay? And it says here, this is an actual, and you'll see it in the link, which is in the box right here, is an actual link you can open up and look at. It says here that it is an email. And it says, agreed, Michael, that it is now time to begin assemble more high profile the team to speak about injustice here. What do we have the firm to speak? Authority about anti-corruption. Mike was going to reach out to Judge Freach, which can think other statutes and think now that the time to read into the situation, willing to help. Ambassador Gillistein mentioned names like the former U.S. Attorney Patrick Fitzgerald. See, So this is how politics are connected. Romania now. Romania. This is Romania. You feeling me? Okay. Says here, an update, Stan, where we reach Clement and ask him for help for us broker the meeting. So this is from Hunter's laptop. Remember being a broker? Okay, and all that. It says Rob is reaching out to Andrea, ask whether she can figure out the procedure and request with the DNA, on which we're going to do this. We should do it right. We should put together persuasive deck and procedural substantial defects and indictments against Gabs. And this is where the freedom of speech thing comes in with the social platforms that are not, for the left side. They're protecting our freedom of speech, and Gabs was one of them there. And so they're going after the website Gabs. And we should also probably put together and start what would be the press strategy and line up big names to bring over to respect only one shot to do this. So, yes. Now, here is a other part of the scenario. And you got to understand how I'm actually showing you guys kind of like, how the internet is made and how you got all these different areas to look at and how it branches out. Well, this is the exact same formula that's happening with the corruption. Okay. So we're showing you different branches of things. Okay. So here is the other area. This is, if we pop this open, I don't know if it'll pop open. It might. Let me see if it will. But this is an actual map from Mark Mellock Brown. Okay, and he's in the center part. I don't know if it'll do it or not. Let's see if it'll do it. If not, we'll go back to the other. Oh, no. Okay, I don't want to do it. All right. Anyway, let's go back to it. Here, maybe. Bear with me. But anyway, this is a map that deals with this part of the connection of the corruption, which is, I want you to write this word down, or these verbiage down, okay? All right, here, back on the map so you can see what I'm looking at, is the Center for Global Development European Advisory Group. You got that? And if you miss any part of the show, you can always rewind it, okay? But the Center for Global Development European Advisory Group, which they call it the CGD. And it gives you all the names in there under that little title, which shows the connection to the Mark Malloch Brown, but also the wife, the daughter of, the wife being head of Refugees International. Now, think about that, because in Ukraine, what's coming out of Ukraine into all those little countries like Poland and so on and so forth? Refugees, right? Basically. Okay, so keep thinking about that. And then you have NATO connected to Mark Malloch Brown. And then universities, education, and United Kingdom. Okay. So this whole thing with the Ukraine thing is corruption. And Putin's trying to clean it out because we can't bring the United States in there. Why? Two factors. One could be active war, just being like it is, being U.S. invasion. But the other bigger thing is Biden don't want to go in there because why? All his connections, right along with the Democrats, lay very heavily in Ukraine and all the surrounding countries around it. Are you feeling me? Are you seeing the Kraken tentacle thing yet? Okay. But there's more. Following this little one here, there's another little phase right there. And this is another email that was on there. And it says here that Don Paul, thank you for speaking with me tonight, indicting that I'm a lawyer of Hunter Biden and appreciate reviewing your records in this matter, And this is signed by George Massery, a partner. So this is a partner, I guess, with possibly Hunter Biden, I'm guessing, maybe. So that was part of his emails, right? But here's the other thing. And I don't know if it'll come down to it here. Yes, okay, there it is. There's the one right there. That's the one I want to talk about. That's the one in the beginning we were talking about. Here's another thing you got to think about something. A while back, I did an investigation here in Northport, Florida, with the Gabby Petito thing, right? And Brian Laundrie, right? Remember, someone reported that Brian possibly went to Mexico. He was spotted in a restaurant. Okay. They got photos and all this stuff. Here's the thing. They had the alphabet soup that starts with an F here in Northport, Florida, investigating that Brian Laundrie situation. Okay, the whole case. And they supposedly closed it here about, 3 weeks to a month ago. Okay. Here's the thing. It needs to be stand open because my information and seeing the symbolisms and seeing everything that's coding and everything, I think this is interconnected to the Democrats. The reason is because in my past shows, I showed you her T-shirts that had symbolism things that dealt with the Democratic Party. She had a eclectic way of living. Gabby did, and Brian, and it was all just a weird mixture. And there was a lot going on with that case. You can look into my past YouTube files, videos, shows, whatever on that, and look at all the stuff about those two kids. Okay. With him going to Mexico, did he meet up with persons or a relative of a distant person that was involved with the cartel down there? Was he part of a drug running situation? And it went bad over in Idaho, or a human trafficking, which is what I highly suspected. Okay, because that's also happening at our south border, human trafficking as well as drugs. It could have been both. And I think it was connected to the Democrat situation of all this. It's interconnected. This is my theory. This is, a lot of stuff that I've talked about with all their symbolisms and codes and clues and things and stuff like that normal police work don't look at. Okay. And everything didn't add up right. I know that his parents were hiding things from him, being, that he's protecting his son and all that kind of thing, And, it didn't smell right from the beginning. It didn't smell right to even when they closed the case. And it should be remaining open because it's unfinished business. I don't care what any alphabet soup says about the Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito case. It's interconnected with the corruption. There's no alphabet soup branch can tell me otherwise. I mean, for God's sake, look at his father. He owns a over $1 million business, a juicing business of all things. Come on, really? No, I think it was like a drug situation that stimulated that company for growth. And human trafficking and pedophile and whatever. I'm not saying maybe it was pedophile, could be. But, the parents weren't acting like normal parents even. Could be, who knows? But here's the thing. When you look at corruption, whether it's on a local level, state level, federal level, or international level, they have the same patterns. They have the same clues. They have the same codes. They have the same pre-programming situations and symbolisms. Everything. And everything that's interconnecting right now with the corruption and pulling out as much volume that has been put out there in the internet and otherwise, okay, looks the same way in the Brian Laundrie and the Gabby Petito case. And it should never have been closed. It needs to be remained open for unlimited time until all corruption in the globe is settled. Because I highly suggest and strongly feel that it's interconnected with the corruption of it. Okay? And this is the picture on the screen as part of it. You follow me? Yes, so much more. All right. Now, the next thing is how Ukraine is going to be interconnected to about what I'm going to tell you here. So let me get on the right page. So further down from this picture, the next article down on my Telegraph thing, from the picture there, is of course dealing with what the voting thing, right, and how there's voter fraud. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about that. But here's the thing, okay? Whether you know it or not, if some of you guys did the research on this, which I don't know if you have or not, the research on this shows that the machines, okay, were bought and paid for by Soros. Soros is what? A high donator to the Democratic Party. At the same time, they also found hard drives and I guess components or something from the Ukraine area. Okay. Amongst other European things. Now, a while back, we heard about stealth invasion of Italy there, and the Da Vinci thing and Da Vinci satellite and other things that were linked with the whole voter fraud thing, right? And then we heard about Italy, and so on and so forth. So Ukraine sounds to me like it's an actual, how do I say it? Like a safe haven's house, like it's a safe, you lock and key it kind of thing for corruption. And with voting machines, for corruption, and absolute corruption is absolute corruption, what better way to hide a lot of evidence is over in Ukraine, right? Well, maybe machines, machine hard drives, components, etc., and so forth. Okay. I'm just saying. Okay. But in the next article that you see down, it gives you all the hyperlinks for Michigan, Maine, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Arizona, North Carolina, Nevada, Florida. Okay. With the whole report, the whole 9 yards of proof and evidence of it. Okay. The whole thing. Okay. And this is another reason why it's connected. But keep going through the whole thing. There's only one more thing here called Marco Polo on the thing that I have on Telegraph here. Further down, let me see if I get it right here. Go to that one there. That will actually give you all the information about the Hunter Biden thing. Because the Hunter Biden thing as well as the Epstein thing are all interconnected with the corruption that not only leads to our global leaders, but our politicians as well as foreign ones, as well as what's going on over there in Ukraine and Russia. Okay. But again, this all comes together as a component of why we're doing what we're doing over in Ukraine and why some people have to suffer, and they're cleaning out the corruption, people. Okay. They're cleaning out the corruption. So enough said about this. I'm going to go for now. This is all I got for you this week. We'll catch you another time when I have more information and give you an update. Okay. So this is Boho with the info. We're out.